Trust doesn't break all at once. It cracks, quietly. A pause too long. A sentence that feels too polished. A look that doesn't hold yours as long as it used to. And if you're not watching closely, those cracks turn into gaps you fall through, until one day you wake up realizing you were the only one holding the thing together. I met her during the early days of the pandemic. She was the first person who made silence feel comfortable instead of awkward. She'd make coffee and sit with me on the floor while the world shut down outside. We were both working from home, both trying to figure out what came next. It started slow. Then we clicked like we'd known each other for years. Within a year, she moved in. It felt fast, but also right. We shared bills, playlists, and weekend routines. She introduced me to oat milk and old movies. I introduced her to grilled cheese with pickles and late-night drives just to hear the rain. She met my family, I met hers. She even won over my mom, which was not easy. I didn't think I'd have to question any of it. My best friend Liam had been around long before she was. We'd grown up together. Same school, same soccer team, same everything. He was the kind of friend who would show up without asking and know when not to talk. He also had a rough few years, lost his dad, got laid off, went through a breakup. So when he started hanging around more often, I didn't mind. He needed the space. She said she was okay with it. He'd crash on the couch once in a while, especially after game nights or movie marathons. And I trusted them both. Him because we had history. Her because she gave no reason not to. Until things started shifting. It started with laughter. Not loud laughter, just that specific kind of inside joke laugh that doesn't include you. They'd share a glance from across the room, then smirk. When I'd ask, "What?" she'd say, "Nothing." Not cold, just casual. But it happened more than once. Then came the change in energy. He'd linger a little longer after I went to bed. She'd stay up watching something. One night I came out to grab water at 2 a.m., and they were both on the couch. Not close, but not apart either. She jumped up when she saw me and said, "We lost track of time." Again, nothing technically wrong. No obvious lines crossed. Just things that didn't feel the same. One afternoon I mentioned something offhand while we were doing dishes. "Liam's been around a lot lately, huh?" She didn't even pause. "He's going through stuff. We're just being kind." I nodded. She kissed me on the shoulder and said, "You know you can trust me, right?" I said, "Of course." And I meant it. Back then, I really did. About 2 weeks later, I had to take an unexpected work trip. Just 2 days. Out Friday morning, back Saturday night. She offered to drop me off at the airport, but I told her to sleep in. Liam actually offered to take me, which wasn't unusual. He had nothing going on that week. We laughed on the drive over, just like always. "I'll make sure she doesn't burn the house down," he joked. I didn't think twice. Friday night passed quietly. She texted me a photo of the cat asleep on her chest, said she missed me. I said I'd be home tomorrow and we'd order Thai like usual. She didn't reply after that. Said she fell asleep early. Fair enough. Saturday, my flight landed earlier than expected. I figured I'd surprise her. Nothing romantic. Just walk in with her favorite pastries from the airport bakery she liked. A small, stupid tradition. I didn't text or call, didn't want to wake her if she was napping. I took an Uber home. The street was quiet. The sun had just started to set. I remember thinking how peaceful everything felt. That's the part I can't forget. I opened the door slowly. Our cat came running like always. The house smelled like her lotion. The TV was off. Shoes were by the door. Her bag was on the counter. All normal. I walked down the hall, balancing the pastries and my carry-on, expecting to see her reading in bed or watching something on her iPad. I opened the bedroom door, and that's when the quiet shattered. They were both asleep, barely covered. Her arm over his chest, his shirt on the floor, my pillow under his head. For a moment, I just stood there, not out of shock, out of confusion. I thought maybe I was seeing it wrong. Maybe it wasn't what it looked like. Maybe this was a dream. But then she stirred, opened her eyes, saw me, and gasped. She sat up quickly, pulling the blanket around herself. He woke up too, confused for a second. Then his face dropped. No one said anything for at least 10 seconds. Just silence, my breathing, her wide eyes, his hand slowly reaching for his jeans. I didn't yell. I didn't throw anything. I just looked at her and asked, "How long?" She didn't answer. I looked at him. "You too?" He looked down. Coward. I dropped the bag on the floor. The pastries spilled. Still warm, still stupid. I didn't say much when I left. I just picked up my bag, stepped backward out of the room, and closed the door gently behind me. There was no dramatic exit, no shouting match, no thrown furniture. I just walked out. She didn't follow me, neither did he. The worst part? They both looked like they expected it. Outside, the sun had fully set. The street was quiet. I sat in the front seat of the Uber I'd barely just stepped out of. The driver asked, "Everything okay?" I lied, said I forgot my key, said I was heading somewhere else now. I didn't even know where I was going. So I asked him to take me to a hotel I remembered passing once during a late-night drive. On the way there, I stared out the window and thought about how strange it is that people can look you in the eye one night and lie, and still fall asleep in your bed like everything's fine. At the hotel, I showered without thinking. No toothbrush, no change of clothes. Just stood under the water until my skin felt sore. I didn't cry. That's the weird thing. People expect rage or heartbreak to hit like a tidal wave. But for me, it arrived more like a slow, steady leak, filling everything in silence. The next morning, I turned off my phone, not out of anger, out of self-preservation. I wasn't ready to read whatever explanation she had typed out. I wasn't ready to hear it was a mistake from someone who made a choice while I was away. I just needed nothing. Silence, distance. A full 24 hours passed before I finally went home. When I walked in, she was sitting at the kitchen table, alone, dressed, her eyes red, but her posture steady. She didn't run toward me, didn't beg, didn't collapse in guilt. She just said, "Can we talk?" I nodded, sat down, kept my distance. The air between us felt different now, like a mirror had cracked and we were sitting in its reflection. "How long?" I asked again. She swallowed, took a breath. "A few weeks." "How many times?" "3." She didn't cry. Neither did I. She just looked tired, like someone who knew the truth was finally heavier than the secret. "Why?" I asked. Not like a victim, not like a man asking to be saved, just like someone trying to make sense of something that never will. "I didn't plan for it to happen," she said. "We were spending time together. You were working a lot. We were disconnected." "So you found connection with him?" She hesitated, then nodded. "I felt seen, not because of anything you lacked, just because he was around and it was easy." That word, easy, that's what hurt most, that she chose easy over earned. "You know what hurts more than the sex?" I asked. She looked up. "The way you let me say, 'I trust you,' without flinching." That landed. She closed her eyes just for a second. I stood up, walked to the bedroom, started grabbing my things. She followed me slowly. "Please don't go like this," she said. "How else should I go?" "Can we talk? Can we work through this?" I turned to face her. "Would you forgive me if it were the other way around?" She didn't answer, because we both knew the truth. I didn't take everything, just the basics. A backpack of clothes, my laptop, a few essentials. I didn't need the rest. I just needed space. Liam never called, not once. No apology, no explanation, no cowardly text. I don't know if it's because he felt guilty or because he assumed I wouldn't want to hear it. Either way, he was right. That bridge burned itself. The next few weeks were strange. I moved in with my brother for a while, went back to work, did everything like I was fine. But inside, something was gone. Not just the relationship, but the part of me that used to believe love was enough. She texted a few times, updates, check-ins, said she was going to therapy, that she hated herself for what happened. Maybe she meant it. Maybe she didn't. It doesn't change what it cost. I finally saw her one last time, about a month later. We met at a neutral spot, a park we used to walk through on Sundays. She looked different. Not physically, but in the way people do after they've faced themselves in the mirror too long. She handed me an envelope with some documents and receipts, said it was everything related to the apartment. We sat for a bit. No small talk, no nostalgia, just space. "Are you okay?" she asked. "Getting there?" She nodded. "I wish I could undo it." I know. I didn't say me too, because I didn't. Some part of me needed this, needed to learn that love isn't always loyal, that sometimes betrayal isn't loud, it's quiet, soft, and sleeping in your bed while you're gone. We hugged once before leaving. It wasn't warm, it wasn't cold, just final. Now, I'm better, not perfect, not bitter, just better. I learned how to build routines again. I stopped checking her socials, stopped looking at old pictures, started doing things that reminded me of myself before her. Because healing doesn't always look like moving on. Sometimes It looks like returning to the version of you that trusted your gut before someone taught you to ignore it. And as for Liam, he's a ghost now. Not because he died, but because the person I once knew doesn't exist anymore. And that's okay. Not every chapter gets a clean ending. Some just close and stay closed.